Mm-hmm. All right. Let's, without any further ado, welcome to Convention Tea. We are back again. We're very hyped to run Convention Tea. Convention Tea is, we run this twice a month, Sunday afternoons, and we're just here to tell you convention horror stories. We kind of had to be on hiatus for a couple weeks because of a major move, but we're here, and Anime Expo Light is this weekend. This could have been the weekend we could have had Anime Expo in the year of 2021 in downtown LA, the year of the Blade Runner.
Yeah, and I just would have been excited for Gundam stuff, and ideally Tomino as a guest. And just hear him be salty AF.
Okay, before we start our presentation, let's give a word to our sponsors. Magic Candle Company. Save 15% when you use the code EAT15 at checkout. And also, Convention Tea is brought to you by YMAC Sweaters, so use our discount code YMAC-Dame Azabal to get 40% off. They sell like a really cute cardigan, so if you're looking for presents, gifts, or something to add to a Lolita outfit, or even a vintage pinup inspired outfit, or maybe you're just looking for cosplay clothes to just kind of modify, check out YMAC Sweater. They're based in Los Angeles and get 40% off when you use our code. Also, from one of our support is from Dragon Combat Club. This is free virtual self-defense for AAPI and allies, because remember, you don't need a dojo to be a dojo. Alright, and be sure to check out Anime Expo Lights.
It just keeps going. Sorry. Initially, I crushed my toe, so that was getting me a little bit of distraction, and then after a certain point, I'm there's so many things we're promoting. Okay, continue. Anime Expo Light. Woo!
Yeah, Anime Expo Light, that's happening this weekend. Admission is only $5, and $5 also will donate to Hate is a Virus. And there's also a similar panel that's going to be run at Anime Expo called Anime Con 91, and it's basically just a bunch of anime boomers just talking about Anime Con 91. Alright, hello fellow kids, who are we? We are Scarlet Rhapsody. We have been covering conventions since the early 2000s. We do podcasts, con reports. We cover anime cons, comic cons, video game cons. We kind of had to take a backseat, if you will, this year and last year.
So that there's something that happened.
Yeah, let's just say 2020 happened, so we couldn't really cover as much as we wanted. However, we were kind of back on the field. There's been small events popping up in our neck of the woods. We had a new ice cream place just open up, and we also had Okairi Con happen over at the Garden Walk here in Anaheim. So things are slowly coming back. We will be at Otakon, looking forward to cover that event. So basically, Scarlet Rhapsody, we're just a bunch of elder, wise millennials, who cover anime conventions, pop culture cons, and more. And we are usually here to just kind of this is our view, this is the con's vibe, this is what the con can do better, and just our overall impressions. And given that we've seen quite a bit since the early 2000s, so might as well run a presentation about convention horror stories. And let's spill the tea. Alright, Jared the Greek, introduce yourself.
I'm Jared the Greek. I'm a streamer and YouTuber and all that stuff that everyone else is, apparently. You probably know me from conventions as that old guy who does panels about robots. It's primarily what I do, although I do also have my very beloved Mythology and Final Fantasy panel, which I am so hoping to bring back soon. I have some new monsters and stuff I really want to talk about, so we'll see how that goes. In addition to that, trying to get some more mythology panels out there, trying to get some more robot panels out there, because this is what I love. I love mythical creatures and super scientific things that could never happen in real life, except for in Yokohama. But that's not... never mind. Look, the point is, we're one step closer to real-life Gundam, blowing up other real-life robots, and I'm super down with that.
And if Anime Expo 21 was happening this weekend in LA, what would you be doing at AX21?
Complaining about the heat, walking around, realizing that, yep, once again, I'm soloing this con, even though I came with a group, and hoping that we have a decent hotel room.
How about Hathaway's Flash Premiere, should it happen?
Hathaway's Flash Premiere and probably CWF. So that would happen as well. But I like my complaints and stuff seem to be always the first thing that comes to my mind. What'd you do at Expo? I complained a lot.
Alright, and I'm Dame Scarlet Asmal, but you can call me Scarlet. I've been cosplaying since the early 2000s, been making my own costumes since 2007, won a couple awards, and these are just a couple of my cosplays right here. I got bit by the Genshin Impact bug, so I'm cosplaying as Lisa. Also into Demon Slayer, cosplaying as Shinobu, and always a lifelong Sailor Moon fan. Here's my Sailor Mars cosplay from AX19. So again, I found that Scarlet Rhapsody, when I was a university student, I was just some weeb who just wanted to blog and talk about their experience at various conventions because, like, yeah, I want to archive these memories somehow, and that kind of evolved into, like, okay, getting my own domain and getting, like, press badges, doing podcasting, and just dipping my toes into live streaming. So, still kind of new to this whole live streaming medium, platform type of thing, and hey, I'm kind of loving it. And what would I be doing at AX21? Well, aside from whining about the heat and hiding in panel rooms, I was supposed to be Sailor Moon in a classic Sailor Moon cosplay group. My friend has her Mars done. I have Usagi almost done. I just had to get a new pair of boots and a brand new wig. So yeah, we probably would have been like running around the con, like during the day they had the Sailor Moon announcement panel / industry panel, and we'd just be running around like the Sailor Senshi we are. And as a joke, because the voice actor for Amuro Ray is also the same voice actor for Tuxedo Mask, for a joke for his late night costume, he would just wear his Amuro Ray cosplay with a top hat and mask and carry a rose around. It's such a deep cut.
I would probably not do that. But late night at Expo actually turns out to be the best for doing cosplay stuff because that prop room like vacates after like 6 o'clock for some reason. And that's when we had some of the best photos. That's when we had that really amazing gathering of
My Hero Academia people. That was a lot of fun.
Which always allows me to use my favorite joke. Guys, my girlfriend is supposed to be here. She dresses up like Toru. Have any of you seen her? And it always takes people a few seconds, and then they get it, and then we all have a nice laugh, and then they're like, "That's a weird ship," and I'm like, I didn't know. No, I wouldn't ship those two either. I just like the joke of having a girlfriend who's invisible. I love that. It's just such a classic nerd thing.
Okay, so when was your first Anime Expo?
2001?
So Long Beach, like,
yeah. From
this photo right here.
So here's the thing about the Long Beach years. I hated the Long Beach years.
We'll go more into that in a bit.
My initial introduction to Anime Expo was both a lot of hype of like, oh my god, this is my first anime con. Yeah, Expo was my first anime con. Kids, don't do that. Don't. Just don't. Find a nice, small, cutesy, this con's run by like my local college. Go to one of those first. Get eased into what an anime con is. Don't go directly into Expo and get punched in the face by sensory overload. Because trust me, you're gonna wonder, should I go to more of these or should I just stop and just stick with sci-fi stuff? It's usually more chill at a sci-fi con. So
your first AX was Long Beach, and we'll definitely talk about the first Long Beach years. My first Anime Expo was AX 1999. I heard about Anime Expo through a subscription I had with Animerica, but for some reason I just kind of kept holding it off to register. And this was in 1998 when I first started hearing about Anime Expo, and I didn't know until the Fox 11 News at 10 covered Anime Expo. They had this whole segment about it, and they interviewed like the Sailor Moon cosplayer, and she was cosplaying as the original manga variant of Usagi with the mask and with a different character design. Like, oh snap, I missed Anime Expo. I totally slept on it. I totally dropped the ball on it. So the very next year, like, okay, let's do Anime Expo for a day. So this was during the time when they still had dealer's hall passes. Like, you didn't have to, like, spend a whole, like, $50, like, on a 3-day badge.
2000.
And I ended up just getting the dealer's hall only badge. And, like, yeah, I'll just, let's just shop. And I think I did my first full weekend, Anime Expo 2002, because at the time I was still a high school student. I was still taking summer classes, and, school takes priority.
On that note, I really never heard of Expo. It's obviously was around throughout all the 90s. I had anime friends, well, taped friends in the 90s, and no one ever talked about it. I think I learned about it when I was just starting out at college, and someone referenced like, "Oh, you're in anime? Did you go to Anime Expo this year?" I'm like, "What's that?" And it's like, "Oh, it's this con." I'm like, "Oh, dude, when is it? July?" Yeah, I wish someone had told me that. I totally would have gone to that. So that's why in 2001, as soon as I found out about passes and stuff, I made sure to just do that for 2001, because it was just the idea of an anime con was such a novel, new thing to me. And I was like, oh, you mean it's not a sci-fi or comic con where there's that little corner in the back where you can find some tapes and maybe like a Sailor Moon knockoff action figure, and like that's it. It's like the whole place is designed around that, and it's so weird thinking that 2001 is only 20 years ago, but the way that my brain looks at things, there were so many more cons than Anime Expo in 2001, and I had no idea. The internet was around, but it wasn't like, there was these huge convention groups or anything like that to know, oh, wow, there's some convention over in San Jose. I could go up to San Jose. Oh, there's a convention in, Arizona, or there's a convention in Washington, multiple. I knew about Emerald City, but I did not know about, Sakura Con. I knew about C2E2, but I didn't know about Anime Central. And it wasn't until 2001, 2002-ish when I heard about A-Con and Otakon and Katsukon and all those things. As I started to get dipped my foot into stuff, I started to learn so much more, and it kind of shocked me how many cons actually existed. And now I'm kind of disgusted by how many. If you
it is so oversaturated.
2019, you would have talked to me and like, this is disgusting. There's too many anime cons. No one can go to them all. Most of them have nothing to offer. It's a waste of your time. Just go to the good ones. And now I'm at a stage going like, I would really, really enjoy a 4,000 or 5,000 person small, just have some fun event. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go back to an Anime Expo, so I'm kind of glad Anime Expo's online this year, I'll be honest.
Alright, so first horror story, the Disneyland Hotel. Did you know that Anime Expo was held at the Disneyland Hotel? For 1 year, it was. So at the time, Anaheim Convention Center was having a bit of construction. And then so Anime Expo migrated to the Disneyland Hotel. Well, I wasn't firsthand with some of the horror stories I've been hearing, so a lot of this is just like secondhand information. Now, granted, it did have some pros and cons. The pros: I love the location. I love the backdrop for photos. Like, we didn't really have cosplay photography. Wasn't really where it's at right now. But if you see here, the Disneyland Hotel used to have like these water fountains. In fact, I went before they got rid of the fountains to do a Nadia Secret of the Blue Water shoot, and I did like a Pokemon shoot here, and I did Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender shoot here. So yeah, it's a beautiful location. However, when you mix anime fandom with Disney guests, and Disney guests, oh, the Karens never change. No. Karens just have cell phones now. When you just mix that crowd together, it gets bad. Like, again, I haven't witnessed anything firsthand. I was just kind of being chill. I was being polite to hotel guests because, like, yeah, we represent the anime convention, and just being high school, like, honor student, good girl student, like, yeah, I'll be kind. Yeah. And then, however, the big story to come out of this was a couple of booths from the dealer's hall. If any of you attend Dapper Day, that convention center, that was the entirety of the dealer's hall. And then a couple booths had to get kicked out because they were selling 18 plus material, if you catch my drift, on the Disney site. So, like,
you can't quite do that, yeah.
Yeah, and then like a couple of us were just kind of wondering what had happened because there's a couple of rumors that were flying around. But you can actually go to, I believe, Anime News Network to just get the full story of the dealers that had to be booted out. So, yeah, I think like people were just like taking photos with the Mickey Mouse statue from the hotel room and just kind of giving it the bird because a lot of people were just annoyed at Disney. And also, this is at a time when like Disney was just kind of going through like another dark age in animation. So like this is also during the same time when people were wondering if Atlantis was a knockoff of Nadia. So just kind of give you just context
of
the time.
Whole other series. If you weren't on the anime side of things, there were other books and things that they were talking about being a knockoff of. But hey, this is the era that gave us Chicken Little. movie where the moral is conform.
And by the way, the gent here in black and white, that is Mike Tatsugawa. This is our original founder and chair dude of Anime Expo. Here he is just grilling some barbecue at the staff cook-off.
Of note, back in the day, we'd usually refer to them as either Disney moms or Disney parents. So that was the term used for the caring types back in the day. It's like, oh god, the Disney moms, let's get the hell out of here. By the way, the anger at Disney in general stuck around. Because I remember when Anaheim was around, people were already telling me the stories. The reason why your story sounds so familiar is like, oh yeah, I heard all of these when we were going back to Anaheim. And everyone was like, oh no, they're going to say that we're not allowed to cosplay and da-da-da, they're going to do that. The whole load of things like, I hate them because they had all these rules and da-da-da. And then everything was usually pretty chill. I think the only thing we ever had to worry about in Anaheim when we get there was the Christian conference. That was the thing.
Oh yeah, they were lovely people. Okay, Long Beach, 2001 and 2002.
I'm gonna be straight up here. Both those years blend to me because it's been so long that like there's events that happened that like I don't know if that was 2001 or 2002.
Yeah, these photos are just from my personal collection. From like when I used to like just scan like physical photos onto my scanner, and these are just like low res versions. So, Long Beach, people hated Long Beach.
Yeah,
they hated the walking, and it was like the first almost like the first instance of Lycon. Yeah, like the environment. I like the Rainbow Lagoon. I like the hotel lobbies. I thought those were chill. Like once you kind of found your group of friends, you can like just chill there for like a little bit, but. Just all that walking around because registration was in one hotel, the Westin, and a lot of the main events were either at the Hyatt or at the Long Beach Convention Center. And if I remember correctly, they weren't using the entirety of the Long Beach Convention Center because they were also sharing space with other trade shows. I forgot too, but because Long Beach also takes place on 4th of July, AX takes place on 4th of July weekend, you also had the 4th of July crowd coming in. And that was also mixing with our people too.
They do nice fireworks in the bay and what have you. I can't remember which hotel it was, but I think it was the Hyatt, where there was like a balcony kind of thing on the second floor, these nice little chairs and what have you. And one of my friends who was like an artist type, if there was nothing for him to do, he would just go to those chairs, sit down, whip out his pad, and just start drawing something. Sometimes he would just like look at the the Expo book and like see a character and like, that character looks cool, and just draw them doing like electric guitar or something. And so, like, that was one of the places where, if we ever needed to meet up, it was the meetup zone, because I had a friend who was like, if the panel doesn't involve some sort of artist-type person, or it's not an anime, premiere or something, I don't care. Which is fine, having, friends like that. It's totally a way to go to cons. So, he'd have chunks of time of just sitting on his butt, drawing people. That's the other thing, he'd draw people, too. If you saw someone in a cosplay, like, hey, can I just look? Cool, thanks, man. And so, what are you doing? I'm drawing. Just draw the person.
Yeah, the one thing I did like about the Long Beach years, I know in the Anaheim years they also had this offered, but it was these tickets were a lot easier to get. It was like the meet the guest reception. This was like a $10 add-on that you can add to your Anime Expo membership, and basically you would have a lot of one-on-one time with the guests of honor. AX 2002, we had a table with the director of Noir, and then he was offering a friend of mine. Like, yeah, I would love to have you work for our studio, but you need 3 things. You need a driver's license, you need a passport, and you need to be in love.
That's an odd third one.
Yes, it is an odd third one.
I understand the other 2, because he needs to fly, to another country. He needs to drive to work. Third part, I thought he was going to say, experience, or to speak Japanese, or...
But you have to be in love to work for the director of Noir.
Right. And then I love B-Train. B-Train's a great company. They did some anime that I love.
And then he ended, I just remember he ended that conversation with threatening my friend with a spork. Like, work for me or I'll threaten you with my spork. Like, I hope I had lost contact with that friend ever since, but I hope he's doing well. Yeah, just like a lot of misconnections like throughout the years,
Oh, no kidding.
And Ikuhara, the gentleman behind Utena, and also a lot of the classic episodes of Sailor Moon S. It was not too hard to find him. Like, I ran into him randomly at the lobby here because I was looking for someone to take a photo of me and my friends, and I just ran into this gentleman. And then, like, hey, can you take a photo? Like, and like his manager, handler, was like, do you know? He's like, oh my god, it's Ikuhara. I Didn't recognize him.
I had that scene from Jean-Claude Van Johnson where he's in Brussels and he's like, "Can we get a photo?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he does the selfie with the girls. No, we wanted a photo of us with that building there. Nothing to do with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
So just kind of give you some sort of semblance. The Long Beach years, it was like, I want to say like less than 10,000 people. Like a lot of veterans of the con were already like, well, this is already too many people. But for me, because this is like one of my first years going, I was like, I can handle it. If you wanted to have a cosplay gathering such as this one from Utena, you kind of had to coordinate with your friends when y'all wanted to meet up, or just hope to like fate that like people who are dressed up similarly will meet up with you. This is also during the day of Easy Board. We didn't have cosplay.com to have centralized gatherings and meetup planning. So you kind of had to like just go through Easy Board to just coordinate. And every single major cosplay group had like their own Easy Board, and I was just kind of like just chilling on each one. Like I remember like Phoenix Seed, they were a really big SoCal cosplay masquerade performance group. Like here, they did a skit called Lady Marmalade Boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Moulin Rouge, that was a thing back then. But yeah, do you have any other Long Beach stories?
I have a lot of Long Beach stories. Okay,
I
know that one for sure is an 01 story. Because, well, we have two. One is, I'm not sure if it's an 01 or an 02. I do have an 02 story as well. Also, I'll try to do a couple quick through these. So, one, there was supposed to be a Hamtaro panel, and whatever scheduling thing happened, so there was no Hamtaro panel. So my friends decided to just go up and pretend to be the staff of Hamtaro, which had fun results. We did not get kicked out. We did not get our badges taken away or anything, because like no one showed up anyways. I'm sure they rescheduled it, and a bunch of people knew when to go to the real one, but it was fun running the fake one. So that was kind of a thing. And I think we got like one of those giveaway little Hamtaro, that was like I can't call it a tennis ball. Tennis ball size, like squeaky ball. And it was Hamtaro, and we were just like, "Hey, since you guys are such a great audience," we just grabbed it and just chucked it at a person. So I don't think we heard. I think the person caught it. Hopefully, I don't remember us hitting that person. That was an 01 story, I believe. Believe the 01 AMV Nightmare was part of that, where we were really excited to go to the AMV show because we knew Expo was going to have a bunch of cool AMVs, and we were all into that. And the line was looking horrible, but I was press because I was with the college press organization, and I went up and I was just like, "Hey, I'm press. Where's the press line?" Like, "Oh, it's over here." Just handful of us saying, "Like, why are we not in? We're supposed to be. The thing starts in like 10 minutes. I shouldn't be seating people." And I checked a watch because it was 2001, and we were just kind of sitting there. And after about half an hour, we were like, "Dude, I'm hungry. Let's just go home and get food." And I was like, Yes. We'll give it 5 more minutes, but if we're not seated in 5 minutes, to hell with it, let's get food." And 5 minutes passed, and to hell with it, we left. Come back the next day, ran into some of the press people I recognized, and they were like, "Dude, it took another 30, 40 minutes before they seated anyone, then there was technical difficulties, we had to wait another hour, and then finally the show went on." And I'm like, so me and my friends would just been in our chairs going like, "Oh, starving, don't care." So we were able to at least, get food instead of starving to death while waiting for AMVs. And the third one that I'm fairly certain is an 01 story is one of the ways I was covering the con, and this is pre-YouTube, people, so I don't know why the hell I did this, and I may have the tapes somewhere, is I went around with my video camera, and it was like video cameraing things, and interviewing people occasionally and stuff like that. And just covering cosplayers and stuff like that, I ran into a Rei Ayanami from Evangelion. She was wearing the plug suit. And I was doing a little thing, talking with her, and she was like smiling and giggling, and did like a little twirl for me, and was like doing a little smile, and what have you. And I was like, "Yeah, she's really nice." And I went back to my friends, like, "Okay, let's show out the footage." I go through stuff like, "You know that Rei Ayanami's hitting on you, right?" And I'm like, she is? And they're like, "Yeah. Idiot." And for the rest of the con, they would not stop giving me crap about missing out on a cute Evangelion cosplayer who was flirting with me. And just made fun of me the entire rest of the con. So that was fun, and I did not run into her again. So it was like, she was there, there's video footage of her somewhere, If I still have that old camera or those old tapes, who knows? I've moved a lot. Things get tossed away. But that was a fun little thing of getting mocked by your friends. And by the way, that's how you know you're in college and a guy. Because your friends will mock you incessantly if you screw up on something that was an easy thing. And that would have been a very significantly better than who I dated, around that time period for sure. And I don't even know that girl's name. I just know she'd been better than the choices I made in college. So,
ditto.
Yeah.
Because we're about to run into that era of me.
And if we're going into O2, I can actually tell one O2 story that was annoying.
Okay, let's just do O2, then we move on to Anaheim.
So, the big reason for me going for O2, and I believe this is O2, again, years blend, was that they were going to premiere G Gundam. Now, this is before I knew anything about G Gundam other than it was a different alternate universe series. And having seen Wing and a little bit of the Universal Century, I was down with just watching everything. And it was... God, I can't remember what it was held. It was held in like this weird secondary building that wasn't part of the convention center, or if it was like weirdly detached. And I've been to the convention center again, and I don't know where this theater is. I have no idea where this theater room is. But we went on this long roundabout, getting turned around 3 different ways, trying to find the stupid theater. We finally found it. We got there, and they're like, "Oh, we delayed that for an hour." And we're like, So instead of coming up late, we're here really early? And they're like, "Yeah." We're like, okay. So we went up to the balcony level, and my friend who's afraid of heights is sitting there like staring down at just one floor. Going like, "Guys, this is a bad choice, man." And I'm like, "Dude, we're on the balcony. We're going to be able to see the subtitles perfectly. Just open up the guidebook and read it. Stop staring at the lower chairs and freaking the hell out." And I swear, it felt like it was a personal screening just for my group, because almost no one showed up. It was impossible to find this stupid theater thing, which has got to pissed off the Bandai people something fierce, trying to build up some hype for G Gundam. It went through like the first 2 or 3 episodes. I think we got introduced to Chibbity, and I think that's episode 3. So I went through Chibbity Crockett, and afterwards I was like, "What the hell was that?" And one of my friends was like, "This is the best Gundam ever. Who cares about politics and everyone being sad? Dude, this is pro wrestling. I'm down." And my other friend was like, "Yeah, man, I totally forgot about like the fact that we were on the balcony. This was great, dude. I want to like get those robot kits." And I'm like, "I don't think they make robot kits for that." They do, by the way. There are G Gundam kits. They're hard to find, but they exist. And it was the weirdest experience, because afterwards we're leaving, and then there's like 10 other people leaving, and we're like, no one found this place. Because I don't think it was a no interest in G Gundam, because a lot of people had no idea what it was, but they saw the word Gundam. Wing was huge, and you still would have had some hype for Wing even in O2, because it's only been on Toonami for 2 years, but it was still in the zeitgeist, and no one was there. It was like this weird pocket that I still don't know where it actually is. It might not even exist anymore in the Long Beach area.
Alright, let's move on to Anaheim. So, after an absence from the Anaheim Convention Center for a few years, Anime Expo returns to Anaheim. This is 2003, so we're probably just going to do like just random Anaheim stories like in this section.
This goes 03 to 06.
So, AX Idol.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, right?
So we both have stories connected to this that are completely different stories.
So, my Chicago friend Jen, who you can see here, is passed out on the green room floor during AX Idol, but for very good reason. So, we decided to enter AX Idol. We were part of the fan dub community. This was like, yeah, it just kind of feels like this is made for us. Like, yeah, let's totally do it. But prior to the show, I kept emailing the coordinator of AX Idol because I needed clarification on the rules for singing. Now, I'm a trained Broadway singer. I've had vocal training for the past couple of years. Like, do you want something animated? Does it need to be in English? Can it be in Japanese? The rules were really vague, and yes. I needed to pick out something right away because as someone who is trained to professionally audition, like, there's specific, like, information I need to know, and I wasn't hearing from the coordinator. Like, can it be, like, American pop? Can it be, like, can it be, like, something I'm already familiar with? Or because if it's Anime Expo, does it need to be anime? Because the karaoke role says, like, yeah, we prefer you sing in anime. Kind of a thing. So, It's already the day before. It's already the day of, because this was the first day live event, main stage event. And I have like my CD ready to go, and I have some backup tracks in the event that I can get things clarified. And I was like one of the first people to go for singing. Of course, because of Anime Expo, they were running late. What a shock.
Yeah.
Yes, Janai, that is Card Captor Will. He was joining us. He was like the Chicago crew I was rolling with at AXO3 and subsequently. So my friend Jen and I, we were just kind of like this backstage, and we were just kind of feeling like really anxious, because when you're waiting for that long of a time, you start feeling kind of anxious. Luckily, they had waters backstage. And basically what we also didn't know is if you're familiar with early American Idol, you're familiar with Simon Cowell. We didn't know that they were going to have like a Simon Cowell-esque kind of judge up there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are amateurs. Some of us are doing this for fun or haven't had any prior audition experience before. And to throw in a Simon Cowell kind of character in there, that made it even worse. Like, we saw like people getting torn down on stage. We saw minors being torn down on stage. And then when it got to my thing, I did something for Cowboy Bebop. Okay, it's in English because this is a dubbing kind of competition. I'll do something in English because it's an anime con. I'll pull something from anime. I had a couple of JRPG songs I didn't know if I could pull from video games, because again, rules weren't clarified. And then Crispin Freeman and Taliesin Jeff were like, "Oh, you should sing something from Broadway. You have a Broadway voice." Yes, I do. I'm actually trained in Broadway, but you didn't clarify the rules. And I'm just like standing there because I have a lot of anger in me that I was just ready to like just blast it out, because like, you didn't tell me what the rules were, dudes. Like, I appreciate the constructive criticism, and like, yeah, I know it probably wasn't the best choice for me, but you didn't clarify. And then my friend Jen here was just so like just kind of pissed off, just kind of like just seeing how people were treated on stage and a lot of the miscommunication going on. She told off one of the judges on stage. You go, girl.
Rightfully so, because one of those two people you mentioned is a world-class prick, and the other one is a weirdo who's probably into some strange stuff. Because I've had personal conversations with him going like, okay, dude, that's cool information, thanks.
Yeah, there was another judge on there who was a frequent he was a cosplay.com shit poster, and he was like part of this group called, I don't know, I think it was called like Raging Hormones or something to that effect, but anywho, because I know they run the scavenger hunts, and like, no, he's like a world-class shit poster on cosplay.com before the word shit posting was like everything. He would just like go in there like, "Hi, I'm Ferdinand Marcos, what up?" I'm like, okay, alright, okay, whatever. And anywho, you have your AX Idle Horse story.
Okay, so for me, I was looking forward to this, and I was keeping up online. You're like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna do the acting thing, I don't have to worry about anything. I'm like, it doesn't say it has to do an anime thing here. I'm assuming if they said monologues, there's not a lot of anime monologues per se.
You could pull a lot from video games.
You could,
but again, I
think at the time,
clarification.
And again, I'm sitting there going like, well, I don't want to go through and find one of the good speeches by a Final Fantasy VI character right now. I don't got the time for that, because I had a job and I had other stuff going on in my life. I didn't want to dig out a classic game and try to find a good speech. So I went through a monologues book and found something from I, Claudius, because I'm like, oh, this will be fun. It's just Claudius losing his freaking mind. I'm like, that'd be good. I can do some physical acting here. I can fall to my knees and holler to the skies and what have you. This will be great. It's a lot of pathos, a lot of different things. Because in my mind, I'm thinking I need to show them that I can act, and then they'll say, "Hey, that was really cool, and you can do the yells. We're working on Punch Fighter, the anime, and we need someone who can do Punch Fight voice plus scream really loud." And I go, I can do that. So that was my thing. I thought this would be a foot in the door kind of thing. If I could just impress one person involved with voice acting, I could get it, because this is the stupidity you have as a child. That's what's required. Just impress someone, you get in the friends list, you're good. And so day one of X, I think it was on day one, which is
it was a day one main event, because you had to get your badge, and then you had to prepare, and then you had to check into your hotel room. So it was like, ooh.
So I was sitting there, and I was like, all right, plenty of time. Okay, we hit over now. It's like 8 o'clock. or 9 o'clock, whatever it was in the morning. And I was like, well, just head over now. We'll get there. I'll get my badge. Plenty of time. I'll do a couple practices with one of my friends. No big deal, because I don't drive, because I'm visually impaired and I can't drive. So I'm sitting there. Time keeps passing. What the hell's going on? So eventually I call one of my friends. Dude, I can't go on Friday. I told you I can only go for the weekend days. I'm at work right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, dude. Okay, yeah. I forgot. Sorry about that. Call the next guy. Hey, where are you, man? Dude, I'm at work. I told you I can't go on Friday. I'm like, wait, so my two riders can't go on Friday, but one of them told me and I forgot. The other one did not tell me at all. So now I'm getting this information at like 9:45 going like, well, who the hell can take me to Expo now? Two drivers who are both at work, and one told me he could get the time off, but then didn't tell me that he didn't get the time off. And that sounds double negative-y. I'm sorry about that. So eventually I just start calling family, and one of my family members is like, yeah, I can grab you at lunch. And I'm like, lunch? Okay, look at the time. I'm like, this is going to be tight. But if registration is clear by this point, if registration is mostly cleared, I could run in, get my badge, run to where I need to go. It should be no problem. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha.
It's like Finnegan, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking Titus and Una, but yes. So, and I was proud of still with my college organization and stuff. So I went in, I got my badge relatively quickly. I got there basically just in time for everything to kind of be wrapping up and ending. I was like, damn it, I really wanted to do this. And I was talking with the Expo staff, and someone stormed out and was like, no, you're lucky you didn't. They're assholes, and this was the worst experience of my life. And I'm like, okay, what?
Remember, if it was a Goo cosplayer, that was probably my friend Jen.
I don't remember.
Because I think after that, I just like, you know what, I'm going to go grab some pina coladas at this makeshift lobby party.
I get the feeling more than just Jen was really pissed off at this. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some people...
No, there's a lot of people who were pissed off.
There's probably some people who came out crying, but I'm sure there's some people who came out wanting to like light stuff on fire. And I ran into one of them, and a couple others joined me, and were like, no, this is what I did. They explained to me what happened. I'm like, oh god, so you're telling me I would have done I, Claudius, and then been mocked for being too crazy when I'm playing a, inbred lunatic losing his mind at the fall of the Roman Empire.
Because if I remember correctly, there were a total of 4 judges: Taliesin, Crispin, Cosplay.com shitposter, and Nice Japanese Lady.
Oh, I like when there's a nice Japanese lady.
I forgot what her name is, but she works for Bang Zoom. So I have seen her before.
I know who she is. I've met her.
I know her first name is Maya, but I've met her a few times since, but she's a sweetheart.
Again, under normal circumstances, this would have been a great way to get your foot in the door with voice acting. Unfortunately, that's not what they wanted to do.
Because when you have a lot of kids, hey, I want to be a voice actor, and you're kind of giving them oh, welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
No, this is not the stage for that.
Because literally, you could have someone do their monologue or what have you, and go, "Hey, that was great. Why did you choose this monologue? How many classes have you taken? Blah 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 blah." And you could have had a little conversation there with them and give them some guidance, and it would have been fine. Instead, they just oh, well, the guys are jerks on American Idol, so let's just do that. And I'm like, well, that just crushes people's dreams. Why would you do that? No one there is like a 25-year-old experienced actor. Everyone going there is probably somewhere between the ages of 22 and 14. And that would be horrible to crush someone's dream like that. I was in radio. I wanted to I was friends with Kylie Bear. Still technically am. I haven't talked to him in a while, but
he's kind of been on and off social media.
Yeah, he's a guy who avoids social media for good reason. I don't blame him. But we were good friends at the time, and he did radio, and he did voiceover, and I was like, that would be so much fun. What a cool life. I'll do some radio, I'll do some voiceover, and they cross over a lot. There's a lot of people in radio who do voices in your favorite video games, believe it or not. And there are, obviously a lot of people from your favorite anime who are doing commercials on the radio, or even TV for that matter. So your voiceover goes both directions. I was like, oh, this would be a cool way to go, This will be fun, and missing that, I was like, at the time I was upset, and I was like mixed feelings. I was like, part of me was like, oh man, but I what if I was the one? And then part of my brain was like, no, this would have ruined your day, and you spent the rest of the day punching a wall, screaming.
I just had pina coladas for the first time in my life. After it was that feeling when you need a drink. This is my first I need a drink. Suck it to me.
Yeah.
All right. Anaheim Stories. Well, Anaheim is the location is very much beloved by a lot of Anime Expo veterans.
Yes, I'm one of those. Fun fact for Anime Expo 03 was that my friends after 02 and getting some traffic issues and just were so frustrated. Said, we are never coming back to Long Beach. I'm never going to go to Expo again because screw Long Beach. The very next year, it was Anaheim, and all my friends were like, all right, let's go. Like it was that mix of joy and anger, because the Expo is such a ordeal to go through, but it's right in our backyard.
But yeah, because like Anaheim, we have like the convention center. It was a smaller convention center back then before they had like yet another expansion. Mm-hmm. We were using most of the Anaheim Convention Center. However, we had to share space with the Benny Hinn Fellowship. Benny Hinn? Benny Hill?
I don't remember.
Okay. It's like Benny something or other. It's a part of the televangelist crew.
Been way cooler if they were Benny Jesuits.
Lord, yeah.
Benny Jesuits would have been badass. Plus, it would all be ladies.
So do you have any horror stories with like sharing space with Benny Hinn friends?
Not really. I remember one of my friends being given a chick track.
Oh, I hate chick tracks.
And
such an infection.
I oftentimes ran into nice people because I wasn't a cosplayer, so they seemed to really not like cosplayers. I was a regular dude. Maybe they thought I was just going to their thing, because I'd be dressed like this anyway. So they'd just be like, "Oh, he's wearing a button-up shirt. He's clean cut. Oh, you're going to our thing. Hello, brother." And it's like, "Oh, hi, what's up?" So I had a friend wearing like a shirt with Goku on it or something, and they give him a chick track. They look at me like, "Hello, brother," and I'm like, greetings to you as well. So I never had those issues. I always felt bad for people who they harassed, though. I know it wasn't like... there's definitely cons that have worse harassment by Christian groups, for sure.
Yeah, we have to deal with, like, acidic Jews at a CapsiCon one year, and that was pretty bad.
But I always found them to be generally friendly to me. Again, I'm going to point out, I'm not a cosplayer. I don't wear anime shirts. So I just kind of think they just thought I was one of them. And so they just treated me nicely. So if anyone has any stories of them treating them bad, I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
I have one.
They seem like nice people to me.
Starbucks. So shared space at the Hilton Hotel. Just got our badges, and we were just hanging out with some Sorcerer Hunter cosplayers.
Nice.
Like, remember when Sorcerer Hunters was a thing?
I know. Now I'm craving hot chocolate for some reason.
So we were just hanging out with them in Starbucks. Just got my tradition to any convention is just getting my mocha frappuccino to kickstart my day. And like we were just sitting there, just chilling, just like, yeah, that registration line, that was a pain, right? Yeah, pain. How's your coffee? Good. We're just waiting for the dealer's hall to open.
A bunch of Frankenstein monsters? Coffee good, line bad.
However, like there was like this lady, like she was like had to be like obviously boomer age, and then she was just kind of sitting across from us, and she was like, "Oh, you guys need psychotherapy. It's like you guys are at a Grateful Dead concert. Like y'all need therapy." I'm like,
dated reference even at the time.
And I'm just looking at her. It's like, now we good, woman. We good.
I could see them being a little bit, because I know what the Sorcerer Hunter costumes look like. And I could see a strict Christian woman looking at those outfits and like, you heathens, and your showing of your skin is wrong and bad and makes baby Jesus cry.
Yeah, because I always tried to be like the reasonable person in the group, because I was like the most quote unquote mature looking person in the group, even though I was like sometimes like the youngest person in our group.
You're still the youngest looking person in our group.
But I had like the mature, like diplomatic skill to like handle these defusing situations, and then like okay, like it seems like the Sorcerer Hunter friends are handling this pretty well. But like yeah, that was just like my close encounters of the Benny Hinn kind. And Janai likes to remind us like yeah, it's a Benny Hinn, not Benny Hill, because Benny Hill would give us yakety sax around a con.
That'd have been really fun though. Like I said, I think they had more issues of cosplayers than anyone else because of how I dress.
Because like the congregation, they would meet like in the Anaheim Arena, but however there would be a lot of shared space with like restaurants, hotel room space. So also
you can still run into Disney people too. Actually,
this is true too, because like back in those days, you had the tram from the convention center area that would go straight to Disney. So anytime you had the cosplay meetup, like right between the Anaheim Convention Center and the Anaheim Convention Center area, you had your gathering and the photographers. They had to like just move out of the way because it was unpredictable when that convention center tram would just roll up. This made it easy for people like me who would like go to downtown Disney for like dinner, like yeah, just take the tram to the Lion King lot, which is now like Cars Land, and yeah, just grab dinner over downtown Disney.
I remember a lot of people, because, you know, age that we all are, we all watched Wayne's World in our formative years, that when the tram would come, you'd oftentimes hear someone yell, "Car!" And then when the tram was gone, "Game on!" Which is that one scene that serves no actual purpose in Wayne's World other than Michael Myers and Dana Carvey wanted to play street hockey. That's the whole reason that scene exists, in my opinion. There's no other reason. There's no character or anything that happens there.
And speaking of shared space, I think that one of the more interesting years was the year we had a gay square dancing group that got along with our people. Like, yeah, gay square dancing. Of all the things.
Well, so here's the thing I'm going to say is, at WonderCon, there's almost always that, like, cheerleading events. And I'm like, you know what? Because for those who don't know, WonderCon moved to Anaheim at a certain point. And every time that happens, and I look at those girls, I'm like, you guys are so lucky this is an Expo. I know that, like, WonderCon people are probably saying some uncouth things, but, like, anime people don't really have a filter, per se.
Unfortunately.
So, a lot of people at WonderCon will be like, I'd say something, those girls like half my age, let's just move on. We'll take a few pictures and move on with life. And anime people would come up to them and talk to them. And they would probably not have a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, Anime Expo was also in Anaheim was also the year that I got into Dolphies, and I would go to Dolphin meetups, and like I would go to parties, and we would just kind of like just display our dolls, like acting like they're also drunk at the party too. So, but my girl here, Maggie, she was very well behaved. Like, this is her interacting with my friend Char's dolls, because my buddy Char also sold like a couple of doll outfits at the Cosworks booth. So, yeah, I got into Dolphies. Yeah, remember when Cosworks was the thing?
Yeah, I think I had one or two things of theirs early on.
Yeah, 2006, last year of Anaheim. Will Anime Expo ever return to Anaheim? A lot of people do want Anime Expo to return to Anaheim.
I want it to return to Anaheim. But here's the one thing I'm going to say, and this goes to Modern Expo as well, just all the way to 2019. The one thing that I miss/don't miss from Anime Expo is what the dealer hall looked like in the Anaheim years. That hall was amazing. ADV had this whole tower set up where they would launch shirts at people, and that's one of my great panic attack stories, which I guess I can tell in just a moment. Let's finish up talking about the event. Bandai, back when they used to release anime, would have a whole little mini theater where they'd show you all their trailers, and if you watch them all, they'd give you like a shirt, or they'd give you like a poster or something like that. And then they had another section where they'd be showing off their video games and their card games. You had, a whole like TV setup with like couches and stuff at the Pioneer booth, back when Pioneer was a thing, eventually the Genion booth. Viz had a whole bunch of like a giant wheel and one of those booths where they blow the air and you can grab the money while it's floating around, so you could get like gift certificates for Viz stuff. It was crazy. There was booths for anything you'd want. You want cells? There's like 5 cell booths over there. You want figures? 20 figure booths over there. You want adult-oriented stuff? Plenty of those. There was like no limitations on stuff. The giant front row things that were like not just a big sign that said popular series of the minutes. No, I mean like big standees and props you could pose with, and it was so freaking cool.
It kind of had that trade show E3 kind of feel, because you had like ADV with like the t-shirt cannons. You had like the money pit with Viz.
It was, if you missed out on this, you missed out on like what I want a dealer hall to look like. As much as it bothers my anxiety, and especially because I'm obsessive compulsive, and one of my compulsion things is being touched. So you can imagine being in a crowded room is not really something I enjoy. It actually makes me nauseous, and I'm lucky I haven't thrown up from that. I've gotten close multiple times, but I haven't. I've almost passed out multiple times as well from panic attack, which can be induced by an anxiety disorder, like obsessive compulsive disorder. Yay. So here's the ADV story. I tell this one almost every single convention, but it's still worth telling because it's a good word of warning for people who have anxiety disorders. So I'm there with just one friend at this time. I don't remember which year it is. It could have been any of those. The booth was almost always there. And we were paying attention. Like, I want to go over the ADV stuff because I want to go check out some of their new releases. They got some manga things I want, like because they were releasing these really nice, larger edition versions of the Full Metal Panic manga. And I know there's a few, whatever series or movie I was looking forward to grabbing from them at the time. Probably Chrono Crusade or something. And went over to the booth because we're like, okay, it's clear, let's do this. Ran over there, was looking through stuff, and then someone starts going up the stairs. And once one person notices, everyone notices. And a mob started grabbing. And so it's me looking at something. Oh, they're out of the volume I need. Dang it. And then I turn, and then a mob, and my friend says, like, yeah, I should have warned you as soon as I saw someone walking up the stairs that we should get the hell out of here. And I thought, no one's going to notice until someone comes up to the bullhorn, and, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't pull you out of this sooner. I'm like, dude, I'm not. He's like, literally, I was wearing a backpack, so we just throw lunches in there, we would throw swag, anything we bought would just go in my backpack. It was the easiest answer for everything. And he just literally grabbed me, you know, the backpacks have the little upper handle thing, grabbed me by the upper handle and just put his shoulder down like this, and went, like through the group of people. And he's just like, I don't care if I knock someone on their ass, I'm getting my friend out of here before he passes out. Bum rushes through the group, makes it out the door, dumps me against a wall, and I'm sitting there going, like sweat coming down my face, can't breathe. And he's like, okay, breathe, man, you're out. No one's around here, everything's good. And as soon as I start to calm down, this 6-foot-something giant Samoan man, I don't know if he was security, a guest, part of the other convention, I don't know. He came up and he's like, hey, is your buddy okay? And he's like, yeah, he's just on the edge of he's having a panic attack, he's coming down. Thank you. If you could just make sure no one else is like, if people just don't crowd us, that would be great. And the guy's like, yeah, cool, man. He goes around, you know, just make sure no one's causing trouble. And I was like, okay, I think I'm getting better, but I have a question. My friend just looks at me and goes like, was a 6'5" big Samoan man come by to check? Did a 6'5" big Samoan man just check up on you? Like, yeah, I needed to know if that was real. And he's like, yeah, that happened. I'm like, okay, good. Then I'm normalizing. I need water. And it was like, yeah, I think there's a drinking fountain down over there. Well, as soon as you can stand up, we'll go over there.
We'll come back to that friend later during the LA.
Oh yeah, we have another story of him. He has all sorts of shenanigans. By the way, not the only person who ever saved me from a panic attack. I was also saved by voice actors. So that was also awesome.
Okay, well, one last Anaheim story here before we move forward. So Anaheim, the last year in 2006, they had Clamp as guests of honor.
Oh god.
Like, oh my god, I'm like, yes, I'm a Clamp fan, love X1999, Cardcaptor Sakura, Magic Raiders Night is my jam. Hence you have, like, my buddies here cosplaying from, as the watery, the windy, the earthy, the fiery, from the Clo cards.
The actual cards?
Yeah, the actual cards themselves.
Those must have looked awesome.
And with their powers combined, Captain Planet shows up.
Captain Planet card.
Yes. No, an actual Captain Planet.
Oh, no, right.
It was a Best of Show award.
I have a better version of this. Zawuldo shows up.
Awesome. Anywho, so Clamp is announced as guest of honor, and I'm like, I need to get all like my Clamp stuff. What are they going to sign? I mean, I have so much X. I have so much Cardcaptor Sakura. Like, it was just really hard for me to narrow down like what I want them to sign. I had like the original Japanese manga. I had the Visiprint of the manga. I had like one version of the X1999 TV series DVDs. I had another version of the X1999 TV series DVDs. Like, yeah, I was so into X like when I was a weeb.
Hold on. You were in your late teens, early 20s, and into X1999?
Yes.
You must have been the only one. I don't know any other women
right?
who were into that series at that time.
Yeah, that was just totally my jam. And
I miss Clamp doing fun stuff like that rather than recycling their old works.
Anywho, so Clamp, their main panel was day one. To get an autograph from Clamp is you had to show up at that panel, and they would like randomly draw names and numbers from that panel. All the questions for the panel were pre-screened, so you couldn't like just line up and like ask them questions. In short, the panel turned into Clamp talks about their pens. A lot of us had like, oh, are you gonna finish the X1999 manga? Are you gonna like make any major reveals? Like Clamp's like, these are our pens. And I felt so underwhelmed because, like, yeah, these ladies wrote, like, a lot of my favorite things, like, just being a young weeb, you know? And I just thought, like, I just felt so underwhelmed, and, like, I didn't get drawn for the raffle, but unfortunately, like, the only thing that they were willing to sign was, like, this, one of those, board things. I forgot what they call it.
Pencil boards.
Pencil boards. Remember those?
I have some signed pencil boards.
Same here. So, you had to buy this pencil board that they would sign. And I know that's, like, typical of guests nowadays. I know, What's His Face was like that.
Go to Guy.
Yeah, Go to Guy. You have to, like, buy, like, some things from him at his booth.
And it was only promoting one thing that he had just, I think it was probably Crybaby, which is not what I wanted. I wanted, I mean, it's Go to Guy. Why would I not want a Mazinger signed Go to Guy thing? That would be freaking amazing. And I was sitting there going, like, I will buy possibly an action figure. I will find something here at the con that I will buy that will be Mazinger related. Maybe I'll grab a, you know, even if I just grab Mazen Kaiser, I'm sure someone re-released that. Go ask the people who do the Make My Mecha panel. They'll know if someone re-released Mazen Kaiser. And as soon as I went to the thing, it's like, oh, it'll only be this one specific pencil board promoting the thing that you don't care about. And I'm like, oh, cool. Just walks the other direction.
It just had, like, the Hulk piano music.
Yeah, because, like, when there's someone who you want them to do that thing you care about, like, think of it as a clamp, because I don't know what was on the clamp pencil board. It could have been all a bunch of mixed up characters. They could have been characters from just one series.
Because Tsubasa was becoming a thing during that time.
Yeah, so it could have just been a Tsubasa thing, and you're like, but I really like X, or I really like Angelic Layer. I freaking love Angelic Layer. And its spiritual successor, Gundam Build Fighters. They're the same show! But clamp designs make Angelic Layer cuter and better. That's coming from a Gundam fan. But when you have that one thing you want, and they say no, but then you have a lottery system on top of that, which just is like, oh, to hell with it.
Because we decided to, like, just line up early just so we can get good seats.
Mm-hmm.
And this is during a time, I didn't have a press badge back then, but I had a staff badge. A staff badge didn't guarantee, not staff badge, industry badge. Because I was working in the film festival circuit during this time. And I was like, well, industry doesn't guarantee you, like, top tier seating, so, like, we'll just have to line up when we can. And luckily we found friends that we could, like, just hang out. Everyone in that line was dressed up as something very elaborate from Clamp. I had friends who did Tokyo Babylon outfits. I had a friend who cosplayed as the tree from Tokyo Babylon. It's like, oh wow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you move.
No, it was like an interpretation of the tree. So it was just like wearing, like, this sakura colored kimono, and, like, she had, like, head dealies, just kind of, like, acting as, like, cherry blossom petals.
That's clever. I like that.
Yeah, she did an amazing job as the tree.
I thought they were, like, you know, when you see the little tree outfits for, like, it's the stereotypical first grade recital, and the kid has to be a tree, and this is, like, a tube with their face sticking out, their hands, like, holding up branches. I was just expecting that, like, in line. I'm like, oh man, going around like that at Expo would be horrible. Okay, so it's more like a Gajinka. That makes a lot more sense, and that's wonderful, and I'm sure you have pictures of it somewhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can see the clamp thing. I was not, I think that was my in-between year. I don't think I was doing a tune radio or anything like that. So I may have been also just a standard attendee.
Overall, we do miss Anaheim, and this was, like, one of the last photos I took of Anime Expo 2006 as we were leaving the convention center, because usually what my group did at Anime Expo when it was at Anaheim is Sunday we would just, like, okay, we're pretty much done with the con, let's go to Disneyland right across the street. And this is also the years that I also helped staff the ballroom dance. I staffed in 2003 and well into 2007, 2008. And this was, like, the most crowded it ever got. This was, like, day one. I was just taking photos of the crowds. This is 2006, and I was already showing it to a couple of my friends in 2006. Like, yeah, that's why I don't do Anime Expo. It's too crowded. But if they would look at the crowds that the LA Convention Center would have, like, at South Hall before the dealers hall open, like,
it's really kind of cute.
Like, this is This is Mickey Mouse compared to that.
Expo's got up to 30,000 people. Oh, God, it's way too big now. Let's skip to LA years. It's up to 70,000 people. I hate this con. It's too crowded.
Also, I ran into a Sub-Zero and Rico cosplayer at Downtown Disney in 2006. Yeah, we miss Anaheim, and because Anaheim has a lot more space now, we think Anaheim can definitely accommodate Anime Expo. And plus, you have like closer hotels. You have a lot more food choices that's within walking distance.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Garden Walk is there, Downtown Disney is there. Just don't show up in cosplay. You had a lot of mom and pop stores like right around like Catella, and like even within driving distance or like even DoorDash distance, you have a lot of variety around the area.
Oh, I would love Expo to be back there with 30,000 people only.
All right, Long Beach Part 2. You skipped on Long Beach Part 2.
Again, this goes to that vow, and this reason I had to say it, because they knew we were going to get to this, where my friend said, if it's in Long Beach, I'm not going. And I was looking at that going, like, I'm no longer press right now, I'm not really industry right now, I'm kind of in a weird in-between state. So, none of my friends want to go, and having my parents take me back and forth to Long Beach is going to be a pain. So, I had to help it. And I stayed home, I had a barbecue, watched a Twilight Zone marathon. It's pretty good, actually. I have no complaints.
And people who didn't attend Long Beach in 01 and 02 got to learn about the horrors of Long Beach in 07.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of illustrate this, I have like 2 Death Note cosplayers like dead on the concrete outside the Long Beach Convention Center. For me, I think I just kind of like just stuck with panels. I just pretty much like just stuck hanging out with friends. I just went to go grab food like right across the street because Islands was there. California Pizza Kitchen was also right across the street.
Hey, food options are pretty decent over there.
And but Artist Alley, they decided to shove Artist Alley like in the first lobby area of the convention center, and that got way too cramped.
Yeah, that's an odd choice.
I do like the fact that they expanded the dealer's hall to take up 2 halls instead of like the one that they had like last time around, which meant like more like walking space. We had the Long Beach Arena, which was really great for Masquerade and a lot of main events. Because I think this is the year.
Nice.
This was like the year they had Hako Momoe, and I didn't attend the concert, but I had like a lot of friends who have horror stories because they kind of like screwed the pooch on that one too. But I don't have the whole story. But if we can get like friends who can talk about that experience, you also had like Gax performing that year, I believe.
That was one of the reasons why so many people showed up. Gax was incredibly powerful. Popular at the time, and still is.
He's popular and powerful. So yeah, I also had Gak that year too.
And he's a fun toy from the 90s.
I had Stellar Gax.
My mom won't let me have that kind of stuff, so they gotta make a mess. You don't get that.
I didn't attend any of those concerts, but I'll tell you, I attended the premiere of Transformers by Michael Bay at the Long Beach Performing Arts Center because that was screening on the very last day. And as press, because I ended up getting both press and a staff badge because of my help with the ballroom dance. We were like, okay, who wants to watch Transformers 2007 by Michael Bay? Like, sure, let's go.
In defense, if I had the option of watching the first 3 episodes of G Gundam again or Transformers 07, I'd probably watch Transformers 07. There's some fun moments in that movie. Okay, we have a full listing from Janai here, who was there at that mega concert. Yoshiki from X Japan, Sugizo, Miyavi from Maleficent, and Gat. Miyavi's best known for being a minor character in Maleficent. I've actually seen like Miyavi live, and he's really badass live. I'm glad I got to see him live. Yes, Miyavi from Unbroken fame. Yeah. All right, to Los Angeles we go. Oh my goodness! I did one day of this con. When Anime Expo was going to announce where their 2008 location would be, everyone was banking on Anaheim. Who could blame them? Anaheim was a beautiful, precious thing we had. You say that, but I remember a lot of people who hated the Anaheim location for some reason. However, Anaheim was already booked. They had a Shriners convention. And that made me laugh because when I was thinking of Shriners, I was thinking about like ancient Cambodian shrines. I was thinking about like those people in those tiny cars with the fez hats with the monkeys. I know that sounds bad, but that's a Disney fan. You've probably been on Jungle Cruise half as many times as me, which still puts you in the high thousands. And you don't think, when you think of Shriners, you don't think of ancient Cambodian shrines made by ancient Cambodian Shriners.
No, when they said Shriners, the Shriner conventions, I was just thinking like the feds hats and like just the tiny cars.
Or you don't go somewhere
so bad.
silly and think like, oh my gosh, do they all have the shrine from the Shrining?
I'm not that dumb.
I have friends who are. Friends?
You have friends? Really? Since when?
Yeah, I know. That's weird. I apologize to anyone who thought.
Okay, to Los Angeles we go. I'm going to quote my friend Saul here. And Saul was like, yeah, I remember everyone was crying blood over in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few of my Bay Area friends were like, wait, is that where the zombies live? And then I remember our friend Stan, he kept acting like Snoop Dogg, but very aggressive because, like, growing up in Long Beach, I was like, when I think Snoop Dogg, I think like,
Long Beach. He talks about LBC. It's just probably where he grew up, Long Beach Central. But, like, I don't think of him as LA.
Yeah. I think that's Snoop Dogg.
I think more like Tupac when I think LA.
Because they were like just portraying like all these aggressive like gang members. Like we're gonna have the LA riots happen again.
Yeah, I remember that online. I was like, oh my gosh, gangbangers are gonna start murdering us left and right. I'm like, guys, not that section of LA. That's a better part of LA.
Like, we haven't gone this far and we haven't mentioned Man-Faye. Like, yeah, we haven't mentioned Man-Faye.
Really, I don't have any stories about him.
I don't have stories about him either. I just remember seeing him in, like, a t-shirt and jeans on the last day. I'm like, damn, you look good. Not my type, but you look good.
Yeah, I remember being around. My friends like, oh, there's Man-Faye. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sure. They're doing their thing.
Of all the cross players, this is the one that gets some sort of, like, fame. Dude, we ran into, like, 4 cross players 5 minutes ago. I don't know what you're... Yeah, but usually it's chicks dressed up like dudes. I'm like, it is chicks dressed up like dudes most of the time. We've seen plenty of dudes dressed up like chicks. And dudes dressed up like dudes who look like chicks.
Boy George?
I was thinking Fushigi Yugi, but...
Yeah, I hope Man-Faye is doing like, yeah, I hope he is too. Last time I checked, he was getting a fashion major over at the local JC, but that was like 10 years ago. So like hopefully he has the career in fashion.
And look, well, everyone makes, whatever, and oh god, it's Man-Faye.
He seemed like a really chill dude. Like when I ran into him, and like you're actually pursuing a career in fashion. That's pretty awesome.
And he didn't really. At least I don't know anyone who has a story of him, being extra rowdy or being massively inappropriate with people.
I think the only quote unquote inappropriate thing they were trying to get him for was he was selling Man-Faye merch without a permit, like in the public zone.
Yeah. Okay, but that's not like.
But that's more of a legal.
He doesn't.
thing.
He didn't start like just. Walking to people's, booths and just start twerking or something. Not that twerking was a thing yet, but you know what I mean? He didn't go up and find, like, one of the Goku standee and start, like, grinding on it. Like, come on, get the photos of me grinding on Goku. Like, he didn't do anything like that. Or if he did, no one has a story about it.
He was just, like, just doing all these pin-up, like, cheesecake
Yes. He did the photos and the poses and stuff. And some people thought it was gross, and some people thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. But,
it's no different from, like, when I'm doing a
so many cosplayers that, like, it never really was a thing to me. I was like, dude, we spent, like, part of our chunk I spent that time hanging out with that crossplayer when we were at Long Beach or whatever, and I was just like, who cares? I met plenty of chicks who dressed up like dudes, and plenty of dudes who dressed up like chicks. I just didn't care one way or the other. But I know some people did. I know some of my friends like, oh, that guy's gross. Why does he do that? And I'm like,
I just let people be. But yeah, a lot of people were just like, to quote Saul, like, yeah, a lot of people were crying blood, and like I wanted to keep an open mind about it, and because at the time I was living relatively close to the LA Convention Center, like, yeah, I can just drive back and forth, and this was a day where the time when you could still find parking at the LA Convention Center if you get there like at noonish. So I spent 2008 like just commuting to the LA Convention Center and also helping out with the ballroom dance. Now, let's get back to your friend.
Okay.
An MAA fighter versus consecurity. Let's go.
Well, he had MMA
He thought he was an MMA fighter. In his mind, he thought.
He was a skilled amateur boxer who always did the whole, I could go pro, but I don't want to just beat everyone instantly. And I'm like, yeah, every amateur says that, dude. And he did have some MMA training, and I think he was thinking about it, but he never really did. Anyhow, we went to one day of Expo in LA because we were kind of at that point of like, should we go? Should we not go? How much of a mess is it going to be? It's a long drive, and I don't want to get a hotel over there. But I was dating a gal from the Valley, so I was like, okay, I need to do one day. I'm only done have a day. I'll do my girlfriend. You go and wander the dealer hall. We'll meet up at the end of the day. Everything will be cool. And the day's end. There's not a lot much to do. We're not really feeling like staying like super late for any of the late stuff, even though there was some interesting things going on. And I was just hanging out with her and her friends, and they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something. And I was just like, okay, whatever. My friend, messages me on the phone. It's like, hey, I'll meet you up. You guys where? I'm like, okay, tell me where we're at. And we're not too far from where the dealer hall was. So he left the dealer hall. The one thing with the security this year is that they wanted you to go through only the specific doors. But here's the deal. I don't see why you couldn't go through any exit door. And my friend says the same thing. Why couldn't I just go through any exit door? It's an exit door. Who cares? Why do I have to go all the way around to go through a different exit door to then go all the way back to where I was to meet up with my friend? We just go straight to the door, straight line. Who cares? I get going through being checked. You don't need to be checked going out. And he went through one of the doors, and one of the security guys, here's where the fun part comes in. Before I continue the story, I'm going to tell his version of the story, then I'll tell you what really happened. And you can tell me which one is the more entertaining and awesome version. So he goes through on the doors. One of the security guys gets in his face. The security guy was 7 foot tall, super ripped. It looked like The Big Show, if you guys are familiar with pro wrestling. And, he's like, hey, you can't go through that door. And he's like, grabbed the security guy by the shoulder and just shoved him aside. The security guy fell on his butt and was like, grabbed his walkie-talkie, said something into it. 7 guys come up, and my friend just stares them down, and they all back away. Then he comes up to me, he's like, hey, dude, we gotta leave. These security guys are causing me some grief. And I was like, yeah, dude, sure. And then security guys came up to our group and just went after both of us. So he grabbed me over his shoulder and then ran through them, very similar to what he did at Expo there with the shoulder out, just boom, knocking over guys who must have eaten weights for breakfast. They were so huge and muscular. And then made our way to the car as they're shooting at us, got in the car and escaped down the freeway back to safety of Anaheim. That's his version. Here's what really happened. A guy, probably 5'10", it probably works out a little bit, was like, hey, you can't go through there, you have to go through special doors. And my friend was like, did like a whatever, dude, I'm leaving anyways. And the guy stared at him, and then he went up to me, he's like, hey man, can we just go? And I looked up, and I see his face, why are you looking? And I look back, and there's a security guy with his arms crossed, you broke the rules. And I was like, yeah, dude, we can go. Hey, everyone, me and my friend are heading out. Getting a long drive home, we're both hungry. And we just left. Now, his version of the story did not begin like that. It normally began with him, pushing the guard out of the way, and then 3 other guards came up the stairs, and we went down a different set of stairs. But every time he told it, he embellished more and more and more. And I'm like, he would tell it in front of me, and I'm like, dude, I was there. Can you not embellish this much? I literally said that one time, and he's like, dude, you're visually impaired, you probably just didn't see how many guys were after us. And I'm like, don't you use my eyes against me like that. Are you kidding me? I think I can tell when people are after me. I think I can tell when we're being chased by gun-toting security guards. That to me feels like something that didn't happen at all. Because it didn't happen at all. But he always embellished stories bigger and crazier than they are.
I always love hearing this one. Okay, yeah, this was the slide for that fight thing, but if you're kind of wondering what cosplay meetups look like and how we were just trying to figure things out, we would meet right between the Staples Center and West Hall, because there's all that open spaces there. And of course, this gal right here is doing the dance, what we ancient ones refer to as the caramel dancing.
Oh god, that was a thing.
That was a thing.
I also point out, I think that was his last anime con. I think he went to a few other cons, but I don't know.
He was with us at SakuraCon.
Oh, SakuraCon, right? He did SakuraCon. God, that's another one where he tells a very different version of the events of that con, and the previous SakuraCon actually. But yeah, he didn't come to them all. I don't know if I'd want to go for con with him now. I feel like I would just be massively uncomfortable.
And not what he's in the precinct for. Anyway,
Drunk and Disorderly is fun.
Alright, AX09, Death of a King. This is the year Michael Jackson died. And I kind of had to adjust my cosplays because, I had a couple things already set up. And I originally wanted to have the Baccano meetup kind of like an LA Live because you kind of get some like cool backgrounds over there. But this was prior to his death being announced.
You died like days before Expo.
Yeah, and we had this. Okay, let's meet at AX Live, and then AX was told by AEG, like, yeah, we have an event being set up there. It's like, yeah, don't set up your meet up there. Like, okay, we'll just meet outside West Hall. And one of the cosplays I brought was Maki from an obscure anime called Geobreeders, because her character design is actually based off Michael Jackson in Smooth Criminal. And that was a wild year because a lot of booths were playing Michael Jackson music.
Because the thing is, that, and those of you now who may have been too young or something, when he died, all sins were forgiven. He was now just the king of pop again, and long live the king, and we miss you, Michael, and everyone was remembering Thriller, and everyone was remembering Dangerous, to some lesser extent, Captain EO. We weren't remembering any of the later stuff. We all just decided that didn't exist. You had this time period from about 1991 all the way back to the Jackson 5, and we loved it all, and we were all like, hey, it's great to devastate. And I said, the best thing ever happened for his career was dying, because now all bad things are forgiven. And there's a lot of rocker types who will have that, and rappers and stuff like that. They did bad stuff, it doesn't matter, but they die, it's it. All bad stuff's forgiven. And
Michael Jackson's funeral was happening like as soon as AX ended, because they had the Staples Center set for the funeral. So you had like a lot of these street vendors selling Michael Jackson memorial stuff, and you also had like AEG promoters like approaching like people attending AX to give away like some tickets if they were interested in attending the memorial. One of my buddies, Chris Tang, he was able to score like tickets for the memorial. These weren't being sold; these were just kind of just being given away from AEG promoters. And I thought that was interesting. Like, yeah, like I'm local, I wouldn't mind like just staying for this, just kind of because it was a historical big deal in music. And I had a friend of mine who was coming in from the Bay Area, and she was a huge Michael Jackson. She's a huge Michael Jackson fan, coming from Russia. Michael obviously huge in Europe.
Oh yeah.
And then I told her, like, you know what, if you're here, check out the Grammy Museum. It's like an LA Live, and they have a whole Michael Jackson memorial, and she brought her kids with her, and she's like, yeah, that was a very spiritual experience.
I just realized something.
Having that.
I bet they were giving away the tickets because they were afraid, like, no one would show up to the memorial because of all the bad press Michael had in the last, 10 years of his life, 15 years, whatever it would have been of his life. And then the whole place was packed. Mm-hmm. Like, well beyond whatever tickets they were planning on giving away to begin with.
Space Michael from Space Channel 5, someone had mentioned in the chat.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I remember that.
It's part 2. Yep.
Yeah, like, Smooth Criminal was always my go-to Michael jam. No pun intended, because he also did a song called Jam. And there's also a really amazing AMV done to Jam to, like, various sports anime.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that was a huge year when we lost Michael Jackson, because it also kind of bled into the anime nerd community. There were even artist alley, like this photo of Michael in Smooth Criminal was being sold at the artist alley.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So yeah, like 2009 was just kind of like the year, like, yeah, we remember Michael Jackson. Oh, here's another one, straight from 2010. My name is Yu Asakawa.
Okay, so this is not me asking this question. I just want to point that out real quick. But when I was doing research on the different people, I'm like, okay, what panels do I want to go to? Well, you just go where she's known for. And I looked it up, and I want to say it was probably Anime News Network's Anime Encyclopedia, as that was one of the better sources back in the day. Still technically is. I don't know if it's been updated as well as it should be. I haven't been on their web zone since 2010. But I needed to find a place, and it was the easiest place to just look people up. And I saw there, and I looked at some of the titles of things she was involved in. I'm like, wait, those are hentais. Are there 2 Yu Asakawas? Or I'm like, well, she's best known for voicing Ryder from Fate Stay Night, and that originally began as an Arrow game. Mm-hmm. This seems like this could be the case. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to ask her about it. That'd be really weird. But that's an interesting fun fact. I'll just keep that in the back of my mind when I ask a question at the panel about Fate or what have you. And I go to the panel, and someone came up and they basically asked, like, hey, I was curious, your work with, Arrow games and stuff versus your work with regular anime, what was, the difference? And she literally, look at her face change. She go, no, I am Yu Asakawa. Yu Asakawa. I do anime voice acting. It's in English, exactly like that. I'm not trying to do, a parody or anything. And it was one of those, that's not normally the response someone has. Because normally a person would probably say, I didn't actually do any of those. I think you're mixing me up with someone else. That's the normal response. The normal response is like, oh, I think there's another actor who uses it with my name or uses that as a stage name or whatever. You know, it happens. But no, her thing was like a panicked, like, no, that's not me. I'm someone else. I don't know what you're talking about. And at that moment, I'm like, guilty as charged. You totally did this, and your break into mainstream stuff was because of fate, and now you're like, please don't bring that up. It's super embarrassing. I had to be on a microphone making moan noises. Well, who knows what happens to my character? And I'm like, yeah, that would be weird. So, yeah, it was like kind of those fun, silly, like, side things. And it just always stuck with me, because every time... But one, Medusa is one of my favorite original Fate gals. Her and Sakura were, like, easily two of my favorites.
Yeah, Writer Medusa is, like, one of my favorites. Like, I remember back in the day when you can say writer and knew exactly who it was. But now you have to specify, like, Medusa, writer, purple hair... One of my dream costumes, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
You're the shortest Medusa.
I embrace my tininess. I embrace my chibi-fied
One of her personal issues is how tall she is. She's like, I'm too tall. No one likes me because I'm tall. I'm like, that's not the issue.
I'm tall compared to my doll face.
You are. It's true. You can have a doll face up to Sakura and everyone would think it was adorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a couple of other things from this year, 2010. This is also the year that we had... There was a rival con... which we refer to as Spike Con. That was
yeah, that's right.
That was also happening.
This isn't even the. Oh no, Anime Con Carney was fighting a different.
No, that was fighting a different con.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, this was AM Squared, and they had like this concert event.
There's
right across the street.
whole drama thing that led to that. With like it was one of their press people or something got upset with someone and then decided to do his own Spike Con that no one went to.
Oh, there was actually quite a bit of people who went there, but people saw the problem of like having two major cons happening on the same weekend. It kind of steals vendors, it steals artists. So you kind of have to like just make up your choice on that. So AM Squared, AM Squared, like one version. I'm just trying to remember the dates correctly because there was one I believe. Yeah, this would have been like around the time, like, it would have been the same time as AM Squared happened, because I actually did, like, send a team to cover AM Squared while we were over at Anime Expo.
It wouldn't have been 08, because 08 was the first year.
No, 08 had to have been the first year of AM Squared to spite, because the person who was running press is the same guy who ran press in 07.
But 08 would have been the first year of LA. I don't think it was the first. I thought it was
because like it was taking away people from LA because there was already a demand for people not to want to go to LA.
Because I figured me and my buddy would have gone to that instead because I think it was in Anaheim or something, right?
Yeah, it was in AM Squared was in Anaheim.
So I don't know why we would have gone to that. So I feel like that had to have been 09. Mm-hmm. Everything inside me says that AM Squared's first year was 09.
Yeah, well, I'll have to take a look at it because again, it's just been a while.
Years blur, people. You'd be surprised.
After a while, like they just all begin to blur. But AM Squared, I think around this time in 2010, they just rented like the Nokia theater to just have a couple of bands play. And I remember checking that out for a couple of hours because. X Japan, they were like filming a music video called Born to Be Free, and they were like asking like attendees to be extras, and it was kind of funny because I got to see like the behind the scenes and making of a music video, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
You also did that for Yoshiki.
Mm-hmm. And also 2010 was like the year of the Vuvuzelas.
Oh God, yeah, because of World Cup, and then every con banned them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anime Expo 2012, Dancing with Ryo Horikawa. So this
you have the video.
Yeah, well, it's not playing, but you can look it up here. This is a screenshot of us dancing in the video.
Disappoint.
Yeah, I don't want to get DMCA'd by Twitch because now they kind of have like funky DMCA copyright music rules. So the clip is him singing Saiyan Blood from Dragon Ball.
What if you did like karaoke on Twitch, though? Would they still bust you?
I don't know.
Because he's basically doing karaoke. I mean, sort of. I don't know if he sang that song originally. He may have. I don't actually know.
So basically, we were like this backstage at Masquerade, and again, it was one of those Masquerade. Yeah, long story.
That was our
Pretty Cure skit.
Was that the Pretty Cure skit?
This was a Pretty Cure skit, but we can say that story for another convention, horror stories, because like of your rivalry with someone on staff. But and this was also the year of the X Games.
Yes, where I think I was surviving through this because I got like 1 or 2 free cans of Monster, and I was just surviving off of Monster. Yeah.
And this is when they have like that loop, like in downtown LA, for like that looked like a Hot Wheels and track set type of thing. So I'm like, yeah, I did not like the year of the X Games because we just decided to just peace out early because we were just like,
Well, one, the traffic was insane. I had friends who were actually at the X Games. Like, dude, we had a spare ticket. I'm like, well, you should have called me.
And the foot traffic getting to and from because how they're rerouting people just was just a pain. So like, I'm just ready to go home and just kind of like just take a nap.
I am serious though. I would have gone with that spare ticket just because, like, at least I could say, hey, I saw the X Games.
Also, Linkin Park was performing day 1 of the X Games, and we were hoping that Linkin Park would show up at AX.
I bet they did, but I bet they were low-key as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me Chester didn't go to Anime Expo, please.
Shows up, rolls up at the Bluefin booth.
Like, all he has to do is put on a hat, and he just looks like any generic person at that con. Like, it's not like he has, like, some, oh, well, I just walked around with my chest tattoo that says my name, you know? If he was wearing a regular shirt, like a hat and jeans, you wouldn't know it's him unless you looked at his face real carefully. And someone would probably say this, you look like the dude from Linkin Park. And he'd go like, oh, yeah, a lot of people say that. And then he could go and buy his, like, Gunplas and go home and go back to the Nokia Center or whatever.
So dancing with Ryo Horikawa, so it was like halftime of Masquerade, and you and me were just kind of in the backstage, like, yeah, like, whatever. Then we hear Ryo Horikawa playing the Loop on the Third theme.
Yeah, so what they did for the Masquerade halftime show is Ryo Horikawa, most of you know him as the Japanese voice for Vegeta, though he's like 8 trillion other things, including Ko Uraki from Gundam 0083. It's my least favorite Gundam protagonist outside of Benager, which is a pretty... He held that title until Benager was like the worst UC version. We're not going to go and get into like what's-his-face from Age. But, okay, so he was singing various themes. I remember hearing Yuno Shock, and I was like, oh, dude, I love this song. Freaking, yes. And he did Loop on the Third. And a bunch of us were kind of like at this edge here. So we're watching from backstage, seeing from the side. And I don't remember who it was. It was someone who's probably in their either late high school or early college type age. They're like, I want to run up on stage there. And a bunch of us got together and was like, let's just do it.
Yeah, a lot of people, they were just encouraging us to like just go up on stage and dance with them.
It wasn't the staff. It was just a bunch of
no, like I remember like it was just like staff all just kind of like just motioning us in to go on stage.
I thought it was well, whatever. Either way, we knew we weren't going to get in trouble, so we all ran up on stage and everyone started dancing around behind him. And I think he finishes the first song without even noticing us, because when you're singing, when you're in that mode, you're not. He looks back at us and just like, all right, and then continues going. And then we're sitting there dancing. I have the puppet, and I'm dancing the puppet around. And everyone else is doing their moves. And I'm dancing as well, so it's me dancing plus waving a puppet.
Because I'm like, even backstage, we kind of had a pretty bad Masquerade experience.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Let's just dance with Ryo Horikawa just to say this is like probably the nerdiest thing we've ever done in our lives.
Plus, again, like my comment saying earlier about just going to the X Games, because, dude, how often do you get to go to the X Games? I'm in that mindset of, like, no one can ever talk about, oh, then I was at Masquerade and I ran on stage to dance behind a well-known seiyuu singing popular anime theme songs from the 80s and 90s.
Good times. Alright, we're about to wind down. Let's talk about your experience with Cosplay Wrestling Federation.
Okay, so this is a thing I actually got into with Stan of the team. He was like, oh, you gotta see this, because he had been involved with it at ALA and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this sounds really stupid. And so one year I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. You were at Masquerade or something. I was like, yeah, I'll go with you guys. I'll just sit and, whatever. And then I loved it. And then I watched more and more, and I found out that, a friend of hers, a friend of mine, was one of the people in charge, and eventually pitched characters to him. And in 2019, I got to go on stage for the first time, which was... Okay, so we had some issues of previous years because of a prop breaking, and the glass caused it...
No.
Not distracting at all. A glass broke, interrupted the show, there was issues, so a lot of different things had gone on, and craziness behind the scenes, and so I chose to be Gilgamesh from the Fate series, and his rule is you have to be the first on if you're the newbie. So that if you screw up, everyone will forget about it by the time they're up to some of the people are there to see. Mario, Mr. Satan, whatever. And if you do well, it's going to be enough of a confidence booster that you'll learn something from the experience. So either way, you're going to learn something from the experience, and the audience won't be too dismayed by having the first opening be a little weak. So, as I pointed out, I'm visually impaired. The character doesn't wear glasses. I'm not going to go up there with glasses on. So I was like, oh, where are my sunglasses? I'm looking like the room isn't well enough lit. Everything looks like a gray blob. This is pointless. So I take off my sunglasses. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to take off the sunglasses, or take my regular glasses, go straight up this thing, and get onto the stage. And we didn't have stairs onto the stage. You had to climb on the stage in proper heel fashion. When my song plays, I'm going around. There's initial clapping, and then people realize who I am, and I start to hear boos from Fate fans. Because of who I'm dressed as. Thanks for that. And so I climb on the stage, and they had the referee guy does the handout thing to be like, let me help you up. And I literally remember I did the heel thing of knocking his hand out of the way. I don't need your help. Because I was like, okay, well, already people booing me. I got to go full heel now. And so I tried to say, okay, my brain was literally going, okay, I'll remember what G told me. If they might not like you in the beginning, try to win them over. Try that first. Do not try to be a heel. It's your first time. You're probably not going to do it right. It's just going to turn out awkward. And we went up there, and I'm doing the my loyal subjects, and boo.
Yes.
And I tried to do some of the whole I know the pain of my people. Da 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 da. And at a certain point, I was like, this doesn't work for me, does it? You know that all I want is the belt. Da da. I did the whole thing, and I made it into the second round, and the best improv moment of the entire night, in my opinion, because it was me, and I was Gilgamesh, so why would it not be me? Mr. Hiki, one of the basically the heel announcer, goes the person I thought was the best and has the chance to win is Gilgamesh. And I'm boo, and I come up. It's well, anyhow, it's his turn to take on Skeletor. So I go up on the stage and I get the mic and I go, first off, before I strike down this pathetic let me say that we need more people like Mr. Hiki, who wisely knows that I'm the greatest champion of the CWF. Everyone's losing their minds, booing me. And I turn to the audience and I go, no one cares what peasants think. And the whole audience shut up at that moment. It was so great. I just had this commanding presence, and it was just so in character. And then I ripped on Skeletor for being a 1-star stalker character that no one wants. Everyone just is oh, you're just a pathetic nothing caster that nobody likes, and you'll be forgotten about so fast. And when I am the king, finally they will have a 5-star worthy of the CWF. And I didn't go on to the last round because, one, first time on, and two, most people in CWF, I had to explain them who Gilgamesh was, which is always an awkward thing. To try to explain Fate to people is, there's videos dedicated to making fun of trying to explain Fate to people. And Fate fans will make fun of the convoluted weirdness of Fate, but it was a lot of fun. I wanted to bring him back, and then this whole
2020 happened.
So he didn't get to come back, which is a huge bummer. Would like to bring him back soon. It'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. So before I get into this story here, so 2019 was the last year we went, obviously, because 2020 happened. And this was the year we stayed at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel. Day one...
I have a story about this.
Oh, yes, you do have a story about this. This is something we do in tangent.
All right. You're first.
In tandem, not tangent. All right. So, Millennium Biltmore Hotel, prior to booking the hotel, I really wanted to stay at this hotel. It's an icon of Hollywood. The first Academy Awards were held there. It's been used in a ton of movies. And I'm I want to stay at this Hollywood icon. And if you're familiar with Disney parks, the Tower of Terror, it's actually based off the lobby in there.
You can tell when you go into the elevator.
And I'm glad that we did. It's was one of the better deals that we could get at Anime Expo. Yes, it is kind of further off, but it's also an easy $5 Lyft ride from there to the convention center.
Honestly, it was better doing that than waiting for the buses.
Ditto. And And, like, if people are waiting for a lift with you, we can, like, just share a lift because we're all going the same direction.
With the randos, it was fun. Good to meet new people.
And also prior to just booking a hotel, I did my research, and I was reading about haunted history of Los Angeles, and the Biltmore Hotel just happened to be one of them. It's actually the last place Elizabeth Short, a.k.a. the Black Dahlia, was seen before she was murdered. And I brought some of my psychic stuff with me, like, yeah, if I'm feeling up for it, let me see if I can detect something, you know? And then we check in day one, you're out of it, you decide to just kind of like just sleep a little bit.
Rough week, I think, leading in, or it was the heat or something. But yeah, I was just like, you had a photo thing. I was like, I'm going to lay on the bed, I'll shower and shave later. Oh, and God, it was getting our pass and all that was also a pain.
That was after.
God, yeah. So, and I think I wanted to practice some CWF stuff as well. But, yeah.
And then you were in the shower, and what happened?
So I'm in the shower, and I just finish up my shower. I'm like, I got to shave now. And as I grab my razor, and suddenly the sink starts shaking, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh God, I heard this place was haunted. Oh, how do I upset the ghost by taking a shower? That's not fair. And then the door starts rattling, and then I hear stuff in the hallway, and people going like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh God, this is an earthquake. And I got into the doorway for the bathroom and just kind of did the whole blocking the doorway with my body to make sure the door doesn't slam my fingers. And I had this thought while the earthquake was happening, if this was a major earthquake, I'm so on such a high floor that I'm doomed. I may as well duck and cover under the desk for as much protection as I'm going to have if I'm on the 14th floor or 15th floor or whatever. If the building goes down, that's it. There's no surviving this. So, and then it stopped, and I was like, can I shave now? Is everyone good?
And we didn't have an earthquake again during that con. We did at the Love Live concert. Yep. I was there.
Yeah, I was in the convention center. Everyone at that moment was like, what do we do? And then it stopped. It was like, all right, I gotta get back in line for mine.
The thing with living in California is you get these tiny earthquakes. It's like, yeah, you're trained in school to do what you need to do, but you have those moments where you're like, wait, is this a real earthquake, or do we just move on with life?
If you've ever seen the opening of Independence Day where they're in LA, or technically, if he's out of El Toro, he's probably in Orange County, and Will Smith's like, earthquake, and then his girlfriend's like, it's not even a 4-pointer, go back to bed. And that is a very California mentality. If this thing isn't above a certain level, whatever. And I was more thinking that people who were, from out of state would be freaking out. And they probably did more so than any Californian. All the Californians were like...
It's every day, bro. It's every day.
And the Japanese have earthquakes too, so I'm sure any Japanese guest was like...
No.
Just went on flight.
The Love Live concert still went on, and that was pretty amazing.
Because again, Japan is also known for their earthquakes. I assume a lot of them are like, oh, that wasn't even a 4-pointer. Let's get back to business. Mm-hmm. To sing the songs.
Alright, so last convention story, and thankfully because of 2020, should this ever happen again, we'll probably do a DoorDash now that they're a lot more ubiquitous. Starving AX is the worst.
Yeah.
A lot of food places, they close relatively early in the evening.
And anything that's open is packed so much you're going to have to wait around an hour plus to get your seat.
Starbucks. And I didn't like the fact that our hotel, because we have a hotel restaurant, and they stopped serving food after a certain time. Hi, can you please serve food, please?
I'll take cold cuts at this point.
Yeah, ditto. Because I was kind of thinking to myself, because I've stayed at places where they have their little marketplace open in the wee early hours of the evening just for that.
Because they know there's red-eye people coming in and out, so why would you not have at least an option for them?
Yeah, it'd be nice. So if you're a convention hotel, hopefully that this is something that you can just put into your practice. And it was nice at the hotel. She's kind of was like, yeah, these guys deliver in the evening, but it was that point we need food now. Mm-hmm. And that was just a really horrifying feeling. And luckily we had salads, but I had a salad earlier that day, so I'm like, okay, I really don't feel like having 2 salads.
Yeah, I think I'm surviving on a granola bar or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things where I think Expo I've had the most food problems.
Yes. I look at other cons. We had an incident at Otakon where we needed food as soon as possible because we were just hydrated and everything was just closing up. But again...
Yeah, that's a horror story in and of itself. We'll have to do that eventually.
Oh my god, I'd like to block that from my mind. It was like, this is that bad.
Yeah.
It's just like, we need like real effing food here, you know?
But I feel like in terms of any con I can think of, there's cons where I've been really, really hungry. But it's not like that, oh yeah, at Fanime, every Fanime, there's always that one day where I'm starving or something. No. There might have been 1 or 2 times where I'm like, oh man, I skipped lunch and I really, really need food. But I've never had an issue finding food at Fanime. I do have a similar story from SakuraCon one time where we skipped lunch and skipped dinner and there was just nothing available and we're just surviving on like, granola bars, whatever I had in my backpack because there was just nothing around. But Expo, it's almost I think we could go back to Long Beach with it one of those days where we missed a meal, whether it's a lunch or dinner or both. Those are the worst. But Expo, it's always Expo. To the point that, that's, again, the backpack thing, the reason I had that is I had enough food in there for 2 people to have lunch and 2 people to have dinner.
Because, yes, people are bringing up Denny's in the chat. Like, isn't there, a Denny's nearby? Given that we were just kind of weak, we were just, too weak to even walk to the Denny's, because that's a little bit of a walk away from the con. And also, when you arrive at Denny's, okay, how long?
Yeah, everything has a crazy wait. The walk to certain locations is a pain, and it's 9 o'clock or whatever it was, and you've had...
It was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the evening.
You've had nothing to eat for a very good chunk of the day.
And, okay, I didn't know what time the Love Live concert was going to end, and I had friends who were, doing the VIP thing, and they wanted to do the photo shoot. Guys, I'm starving here. I don't know how long you're going to take. Because I was under the impression that, okay, we'd end early, probably go to Tom's Urban, probably right down the street. My party's already on the way back to the hotel. I don't know what to do with food here. But I think there's a couple lessons learned here. Thankfully, we had a fridge at the hotel. I think we're just probably going to pack more than just salads. The next con we go to, just have an emergency burrito, emergency cold cuts, just in case. Because it's nice to have emergency cold cuts just in case, just to have it there. But I think Expo is just the worst for getting food in the evening, especially if you have plans in the evening. Because I think what I just started to do was okay, just have a hearty lunch, have lunch somewhere, and then just pack a lunch for dinner. Just you can go in the panel, have a salad, have a cold cut, just have a bottle of water with you, or a bottle of water with
The problem is, depending on the con you're going to, security will always be an issue because sometimes security is no outside food. Mm-hmm. I never had that issue with Expo.
I never had that issue with Expo, but we've had that other issue with other cons where we had to kind of be creative about how we sneak in food into the convention.
It really helps if you have a cosplay that has a large jacket or something like that, and you can just sneak it into your pockets. That is always great. So there's bonuses to go in as Jack Harkness or John Constantine, excuse me.
Yeah, I really like the Okamoto Kitchen food truck, and I did like the fact in 2019 they started to do online ordering, so you can pick up your bento at the con. Unfortunately, this is also the year that one of their trucks broke down, so they were only down to 1 truck, and it was an hour wait to even pick up your pre-order.
I remember that. We were supposed to meet up at the press lounge area.
And I was messaging you hey, this is getting late.
Food. Yeah, I made my way there. I'm okay, I got a table. We're just waiting. In my mind, I'm thinking give her 15, 20 minutes, she's a think ahead time. She's not going to just get there at, whatever, and then, oh, are you at the place yet? No, we said we're going to meet up at, 12:30 or 1 o'clock or whatever.
I mean, AX, they do have, the food trucks. They have food trucks at the convention
now they do.
Area. But there's also food trucks that's also right across the street, which could be a bit of a hike especially if you're wearing a lot of major costume stuff. And that's why a lot of friends and I even though we do cosplay, we leave our high key cosplays for private photo shoots and just kind of just wear just chill almost Disney bounty versions of anime characters at cons because it's so hot and you kind of need to be comfortable to get things, to just be able to walk around and to be mobile.
And sometimes you have to wear gold suits with big wigs. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you just kind of just have to be a little bit, again, just think a little bit practically. For me, I'll have a large, sit down lunch, probably at Tom's Urban or Yard House. And then in the evening, and that will keep me going on for a while in the evening.
Neither of those places is inexpensive. Both those places are a little more.
We're at an income level where we can afford to go to a sit down.
Other people.
But again, just kind of like figure out like what's in the area, what's within your budget, and just kind of like just take it from there.
Or do what I used to do when I would fly out to cons. Literally make like 6 sandwiches and have like, okay, this is lunch and dinner on day 1, lunch and dinner day 2, lunch and dinner day 3. Or actually day 3 is usually flying back, so 5 sandwiches. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, just have dinner at the airport like we used to do that all the time.
Yeah. So I that's how I did stuff, and sometimes I would sit there going like, well, I'm probably going to go out for friends on 1 or 2 of these days, but still want the spare sandwiches just in case. And yeah, at a certain point, you're like, if I have another ham and cheese, I'm going to lose my mind. But at least it's sustenance. That became my rule when I used to go to Anime Vegas, because the Cashman Center isn't really near any restaurants per se. So it got to a point of, okay, now I need to walk all the way back, to civilization to try to find food, or just get back to the hotel room, collapse, and just dig something out of my backpack, or ideally if I was in a room that had the fridge, something like that. Became just kind of a standard ongoing rule for me. And Expo, like I said, I used to have the backpack filled with food and what have you, which I helped other people too. When they were like, oh man, I'm so hungry, I just zip it up. What do you want? Granola bar, Pop-Tart, fruit snacks, burrito, I think it's bean and cheese, I'm not sure. So, honestly, that's more of, I've changed, because of cosplay more, I don't have a backpack or anything like that. Plus, I'm an adult and I feel weird walking around with a backpack at a con. Like, it makes me feel like weird nerd guy instead of just like adult. So I've been using smaller and smaller satchels and things like that, or just one of the generic, big bags they sometimes have available. And I need to start just saying, screw it, we're putting the food in here. I'm not dealing with food truck lines. I'm not dealing with, it's 8 o'clock and I finally got done with the panel and I'm starving. No, done with that. My new Expo rule is everything is from home. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. And we got Otakon coming up, and I do know that there is a grocery like right and a Walmart like in walking distance from our hotel.
Okay. So
like our party lead, our hotel lead is like, yeah, like we'll probably go there, just grab some breakfast treats and whatnot. Like, but we have free breakfast at the hotel.
I don't need breakfast treats if we have a continental breakfast. What I need is lunch and dinner.
Mm-hmm. So I think what we'll do is prior to Otakon, we'll just do our usual like Trader Joe's run.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, food goes here.
Because this is just kind of the way my mind is wired at this point. I've had bad food experience at Otakon before. I know it's a new location. I don't care. I might not know this location. I probably don't.
It's always wise to just stay prepared.
I'm more, the older I get, the more I'm like, College Jared was right, and having a stockpile of food is the best way to go about a con.
Yeah, we're not the type, we're not the type, because we're getting older, we don't want to skip meals, but we also want to have, a hearty meal as well. Because, we got to take care of ourselves. And we're at a stage, we can afford to do that. So, yeah, that's also something to consider. But, yeah, starving at AX is the worst. And that was, a harsh lesson that we have to learn and to adapt to. Anywho, that's just the end of our AX stories. My voice is starting to become dry.
Yeah,
all right.
We've been at this for a while.
Yeah, close to 2 hours.
There's a lot to say about Expo, and that's not even all our stories.
Yeah, maybe.
We literally do a part 2.
No, yeah, we should do a part 2 sometime in mid-July. Yeah, taking leftovers from continental breakfast to eat later is also an option.
That was a trick I used in various locations.
I think what I'll do is I'll just get the Tupperware and do the Asian mom thing.
Yeah. Also remember at Anime Vegas going to a buffet once with you, a couple times with other people, and just literally trying to find a way to sneak buffet food back to the room.
Yeah, we do have someone on the East Coast, Secretly Viola, cool name. New Otakon location is a little bit better for food, and I'm definitely one that's okay with walking. That's good to know, because I didn't like Baltimore's food selections, and mainly because a lot of those places closes in the evening.
That was the bigger issue, because I like Shake Shack, and it's a good place to go and eat.
Yes, I love Shake Shack.
But Shake Shack's not...
It's not open at 11.
Not open at 11.
And I like that burger place, but... Yeah, I think that was closed by the time we got there, and there was a hotel restaurant we got to. But again, another horror story for another time.
And we still had to threaten people to get them to open up the fryer. Fun fact about me, just since we're wrapping up, when I used to hotel room with people back in my college days, I did a lot of baking, and I would bring fresh cookies as my contribution to the room. and those fish bake cookies would be gone after like a day. I'd get there like, hey, I brought fish bake cookies. Next morning, wake up, I'll just have a cookie to start my day. It's already empty. Oh, it's cool. Okay, Pop-Tart it is. It's because I always overpacked food, but I liked bringing cookies for everyone else in the room. I have not done that in a long time.
Like, I used to come from, like, the mindset when I was in my early 20s and teens. Like, okay, I'm bringing, like, top ramen at a con. That will be my meal. And I've, like, just grown so much from that mindset. Like, the only time I really need to bring top ramen is, like, if we just kind of need, like, an extra, like, pick-me-up or, like, an extra energy boost. Because I know...
That's my migraine food.
Yeah, that's your migraine food. It's just something, like, you eat just kind of middle of the day to kind of, like, just get your sodium up. Because I know, like, I've had moments like that. Even, like, just traveling. Not just for cons. Like, yeah, I just kind of just need, like, a quick... pick me up. It won't be my meal, but I just could use the salt right now to just kind of keep going.
Well, you lose a lot of salt when you sweat, so that can cause issues because salt is required for movement. Your muscles don't function without salt. So over sweating at a con, if you're wearing like a heavy costume, or you're at an Otakon or something like that where it's just so damn humid, where you can't help it.
All right, upcoming shows. So. July, who knows which one of these will hold. Maybe we'll hold Animagic. You put a con in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, that was like a fall con. I'd save that for like September.
Mm-hmm. Masquerade Horror Stories. I'd like to get more people to join me on Masquerade Madness.
Yeah, we're gonna need people. People have stories.
But it could be a multi-parter because I know you and I you and I alone can like fill in an hour of just talking about Masquerade stories.
Again, I don't have a lot of stories. I've done not nearly as many Masquerades as you.
But I think we can still fill in an hour. I have ideas on how we can go about this.
Yeah.
All right. The panel that goes wrong. Oh my God. Panels that should not exist.
Okay. I thought we were going to go into my Axl Rose stories.
That can also do too.
And if you're wondering what that is, I'll explain it during that episode. So you better watch that episode to know why I'm referring to things as Axl Rose stories.
Yeah, let's see. Janai would be like, 10 years ago, top ramen, Pocky Ramene, now salad, water, quality cheese. Amen to that.
Quality cheese, that's a good idea.
I always bring, like, nowadays, since, like, the start of the pandemic, I've been snacking on, like, string cheese.
We need to do an eating episode of, like, food tips.
We need another food episode.
Yeah.
Because we've done the food one before, but we could
do, like... one that's more about, like, the weird, like, con hacks we have for food. Mm-hmm. I have stories.
Yeah, like just doing con hacks. Like 10 con hacks, learn from your elders, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cosplay misadventures. Hotel roommates from hell.
Yeah, well, I get stories of both of those.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and if you have any ideas of what kind of shows we should do in our next live streams, again, we do these twice a month, and we're more than happy to share our stories and experiences to you.
And when we have shorter episodes, it's always nice to have other people chime in with their stories too. Unfortunately, Expo is like such a leviathan that like there's always just us alone. If we brought one other person into this, we would be here until midnight.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, closing remarks. Check out our YouTube channel, Scholar Rhapsody. We will be posting this video not only on our Twitch channel, but we're also posting it on our YouTube channel. Twitter, follow us at Cons and Churros. Facebook, follow us at Scholar Rhapsody. On Patreon, I need to revamp our Patreon. If you like this content and just want to just give us a tip or like $5 or whatever, like $5 to cover like a Trader Joe's salad or $20 to cover for our Trader Joe's shopping trip to feed us at cons, Patreon and Ko-Fi exist. And we'll give you a shout out on the show should you contribute to our Trader Joe's food fund or parking fund or rideshare fund. Because we are going to Otakon. Our tickets were free. Thank you, Southwest, for free tickets, a.k.a. freaking flyer miles. And you can check us out on the web. We do have convention reports dating back from 2003. Go to scholar-rhapsody.com and read about our weeb adventures. Okay, with that said, we will see you at Otakon. We're at the con.
Yeah.
Like say, hey, it's Rob Miles. Tried a vegan chickenless salt at Trader Joe's. Okay, I'll definitely take a look at that because I love their salts. I love their soups. I doubt I could bring soup at the hotel room because, like, yeah, it needs a heater.
The hotel room. I mean, as long as you have like
heater. I meant like microwave.
Yeah, most rooms won't have microwaves, but there's ways. some soups can be eaten cold and they're perfectly fine, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is the con hacks thing that we'll eventually get into. I never brought those because bringing a can opener is a pain. Less tools, the better.
All right, looking forward to how Otakon goes. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. It's our first time in a while of we're returning to Otakon because I think the last time we went was like 2016. So like it'll be great to be back in the DC metro area. So really curious to see how they pull off this year. All right, yeah, we will be seeing out there.
Going, like, I miss Fallout 3. That's
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in, and keep following our socials to find out when our next show is going to be. We'll probably make a decision sometime in the week what we will cover next, but I do like the idea of doing con hacks. Maybe that's going to be our next one. All right, see y'all. All right, I got to give you that burrito I got at that photo shoot.